All right, everybody, get ready because we're going to dive into some Black Friday deals. Nobody really has time to sort through all those deals online. So that's why we're going to focus on PC gaming deals for this deep dive.
Yeah, we're going to help you maximize your money and minimize your stress.
We're using a roundup from PC Gamer, published on November 23rd, and it's put together by Dave James. This guy's a tech journalist with like 20 years of experience, so he knows what he's talking about.
And he doesn't even wait for Black Friday. These deals are already live a whole week early.
Yeah, so we're going to go through his picks, the ones that really stand out, the stuff where he's like, whoa, I need that.
So first, a pre-built PC, the ABS Aeolian M Ruby. I have no idea what that name is about, but it has some top-tier specs.
What is it with these PC part names? But yeah, let's look at the performance. This thing has an RTX 4070 Ti Super, so you're going to be able to play basically any game, even with all the settings cranked up.
And it's not just the graphics card. It also has a Ryzen 7700X CPU, so the brains of the machine, and 32 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM. So multitasking and loading times should be a breeze.
All that for $1,650, which is $450 off. Pretty good if you're looking to upgrade and don't want to build yourself.
Next up is for all the gamers on the go. The Lenovo Legion 5i laptop with an RTX 4070, still very capable for a laptop, and a top-of-the-line Intel Core i9 CPU.
So this thing can handle some serious gaming on the move.
Absolutely. And with 32 gigabytes of RAM, you can multitask no problem. But the really interesting thing is, this Legion 5i has a 240 hertz screen.
240 hertz, what's that all about?
So that refresh rate means incredibly smooth gameplay, especially in fast-paced games where you need to react quickly.
So no more motion blur messing up your plays.
Exactly. And this powerhouse is only $1,399, $300 off the normal price.
That's a really good deal for a laptop like that. I'm seeing a pattern here. Dave seems to love power and speed. So what else is on the list?
Well, he's also excited about the MSI Mag 321 UP monitor. It's a 32-inch monitor with 4K resolution, which means super sharp visuals. But the really special thing is that it has QD OLED technology.
I know about OLED, but what's QD all about?
So QD OLED combines the deep blacks and vibrant colors of OLED with quantum dots. And that boosts the brightness and color accuracy even more, like a super visual upgrade. And on top of that, it also has 165 hertz refresh rate.
Oh yeah, the super smooth gameplay. So even though it's not as high as the laptop at 240 hertz, it's still going to be way better than a standard 60 hertz monitor.
For sure. And Dave actually mentions that there is a version with 240 hertz, but he thinks that the 165 hertz model is a better value, especially since it's on sale for $699, down from $829.
Yeah, that makes sense. You don't always need the absolute best refresh rate, especially if it costs a lot more. So Dave is all about value, which leads us into his next pick. And this one's a bit more personal. He calls out the Mountain Everest 60 as his favorite keyboard.
It's pretty easy to see why. This compact keyboard has so many features. First of all, it's hot swappable, so you can change out the key switches, which are the things under each key that determine the feel and sound of typing, so you can customize it exactly how you like.
Oh, that's cool. So you don't have to be stuck with a keyboard that doesn't feel right.
Exactly. And even though it's small, it still has full RGB lighting, so you can customize the colors and effects.
Cool. But how does it actually feel to type on?
Dave says it's a dream to type on. Smooth, responsive, and satisfying. And the best part is that it's only $40 for Prime members, or $50 normally.
Oh, they're basically giving it away. All right, so those were a few of Dave's favorites. But this PC Gamer Roundup has tons of other deals in pretty much every category you can imagine. So where should we go next?
Well, let's talk about pre-built gaming PCs. If you aren't into building your own, this is the way to go. And luckily, there are a ton of deals, no matter what your budget is. The article mentions builds with NVIDIA and AMD graphics cards. You can even get an entry-level PC with an RTX 4060 for around $700.
That's pretty good for someone new to PC gaming. But what if you want something with a bit more power?
Oh, they've got that too. You can get some really powerful builds with RTX 4070s and 4080s. And if you want the best, there's even a crazy RTX 4090 build for like $3,000.
Wow, top of the line. So we talked about the Lenovo Legion 5i earlier, but what about other laptop deals?
Yeah, there are a bunch. If you're looking for something a bit cheaper, you can find some RTX 4060 laptops starting around $1,000. Those are great for casual gaming or for students who need to do work and play games.
Okay, and if you want something a bit more powerful?
You can find RTX 4070 laptops for between $1,100 and $1,300, which is a pretty good balance of power and affordability. And then if you want the absolute best, there's an RTX 4080 laptop on sale for under $2,000. Which is crazy for how much power it has.
Now let's move on to visuals. I know a lot of gamers out there want to upgrade their monitors.
Yeah.
So what deals are out there?
It's a good time to buy a monitor. We've got 1080p monitors for as low as $132. Those are great for people on a budget, or maybe for a second monitor. And if you want 1440p for sharper visuals, there are some nice options starting around $150. And get this, you can find a 4K 144Hz monitor for a bit over $300.
Wow, that's a steal. What about ultra-wide monitors? Those are becoming really popular, right?
Definitely. And the PC Gamer article mentions a deal on a 34-inch LG ultra-wide for only $239. That's a great way to get more immersed in your games.
And of course, there's the MSI Mag 321UP with that QD OLED. Still thinking about that one.
Yeah, that's a tough one to resist.
Thinking about all these games is making me worry about storage space. Are there any good deals on SSDs?
You're in luck. Dave says that you can get a 2 TB SSD for less than $100. It's a huge upgrade, especially if you're running low on space.
Definitely need to check those out. My game library is getting a bit out of control. Looks like the deals don't stop there. The article mentions discounts on all sorts of stuff like chairs, headsets, mice, keyboards, everything you could need.
Yeah, it's pretty much a gamer's paradise out there. But before you spend all your money, let's take a look at some of Dave's advice. He has some tips for first-time buyers, especially for choosing the right parts.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's go through his advice for each category. Starting with laptops, what are the main things to think about?
He starts with screen size. He recommends a 16-inch laptop for most gamers.
Yeah, I can see why. Big enough for gaming, but not too big to carry around.
Exactly. He also says it's important to look for a laptop with an extra NVMe SSD slot. That way you can easily upgrade the storage in the future if you need more space. And he's very clear about what you should prioritize in your budget. The GPU is the most important thing.
Makes sense for gaming. That's what lets you run all the demanding games.
Right. And don't forget about RAM. At least 16 GB for smooth performance. Finally, he reminds us that specs aren't everything. You need to make sure that all the parts in the laptop work well together.
Right, so don't just look at the individual specs. Make sure all the parts complement each other.
Exactly. Now, how about monitors? What tips does Dave have for picking the right display?
I'm ready. I could really use some advice in this area.
The first thing he asks is, can you afford an OLED? They have the best picture quality, but they're expensive.
Yeah, that's the trade-off. OLEDs are gorgeous, but they cost a lot. So what if you're on a budget?
He talks about HDR next, saying it's a nice bonus but not essential. He says to think about your GPU when choosing a monitor, because a high-end monitor is useless if your graphics card can't keep up.
Yeah, you don't want to limit your new monitor by having a weak graphics card.
Right. He also brings up a good point about how many screens you need. Don't buy a bunch of monitors if you're not going to use them. And when it comes to refresh rates, don't go too crazy.
So 144 hertz or 165 hertz is enough for most people.
He says that's more than enough, so don't spend extra money on something you won't use. All right, last but not least, let's talk graphics cards.
Okay. I'm curious what he has to say about this,
Oh.
especially for people who haven't upgraded their graphics card before.
Well, his first tip is to set a budget and stick to it. It's really easy to overspend when buying PC parts, especially graphics cards.
Yeah, for sure. It's tempting to get the best of the best, but you need to be realistic about how much you can spend.
Yeah. He also says that you should focus on the graphics card and not the brand, so look at the performance and features, and don't just get swayed by the marketing.
Yeah, that's a good reminder. We can get caught up in the hype sometimes.
And he brings up another good point. The monitor you use is just as important as the graphics card. So if you have a really powerful graphics card, but your monitor is only 60 hertz, you're not getting the full benefit of the graphics card.
So it's like having a Ferrari engine and a Toyota Corolla.
Yeah, exactly. Then he talks about new generations of graphics cards. It's tempting to wait for the latest one, but he points out that older cards can be a really good value.
Yeah, especially since the new releases make the older ones cheaper.
Exactly. And lastly, he reminds us that upgrading a graphics card is actually pretty easy. You don't need to be a PC expert to do it.
That's good to know for anyone who's afraid to mess with their PC.
Definitely. So there you have it. That's all of Dave James's advice for Black Friday PC gaming deals.
This was super helpful. I feel like I have a much better idea of what to look for now, but I'm still curious to hear about those crazy deals. The ones that blew even Dave's mind. What were some of the craziest ones in the article?
Oh yeah, there are a few, like that ABS Aeolian M Ruby PC. With the RTX 4070 Ti Super and 32 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM,
Mm.
to get all that for $1,650 is pretty much unheard of.
Yeah, it's like they're giving away performance.
And for laptops, there's a crazy deal on a Lenovo Legion Pro 7i. This thing is a beast. It has an RTX 4080, a Core i9 processor, 32 gigabyte of RAM, a 240 hertz screen, and 1 TB SSD, all for $1,999.
Wait a minute. An RTX 4080 laptop for under $2,000? That's got to be some kind of record.
Yeah, it's a crazy deal. That 4080 mobile GPU is super powerful. You can play any game on max settings with that.
And don't forget about the MSI Mag 321UP monitor. That QD OLED technology sounds awesome. And $699 for a 4K 165 hertz monitor. My current monitor is looking pretty sad right now.
I know what you mean. That's a really tempting deal. And remember, you were worried about storage space. Those 2 TB SSDs for under $100 are looking pretty good right about now.
Yeah, my wallet is definitely feeling lighter already. So with all these deals, should we buy now? Or wait and see if there are even better deals on Black Friday?
That's the big question, isn't it? That's a tough choice. The deals right now are already amazing, so you might miss out if you wait. But then again, we know that retailers like to go all out on Black Friday itself, so maybe waiting will get you a better price.
So it's a gamble either way.
Exactly. It depends how much risk you're willing to take and how badly you need the upgrade. If you see something you love at a price you like, just go for it. Don't be afraid to miss out. But if you're patient and you like hunting for deals, then maybe you'll find an even better deal if you wait.
Yeah, it's a good point. Plus, some of the popular stuff might sell out, even if the price drops later.
Oh yeah, for sure. Remember the GPU shortage a few years ago? Sometimes you can't even find the parts, even if you're willing to pay full price.
So if you really want something,
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's better to just buy it now rather than risk it selling out later.
Yep.
So I guess it comes down to doing your research, setting a budget, and knowing what you want.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, I think that's enough Black Friday talk for one day. Thanks for helping us sort through all the deals.
No problem. It's always fun to see what kind of deals pop up this time of year.
And for everyone listening, if you want to see all the deals we mentioned, plus even more, we'll include a link to the PC Gamer article in the show notes.
Yeah, definitely check it out. There are tons of great deals in there.
But before we go, I want to leave you with one last thought. We talked about all these amazing deals and the possibility of even better deals next week. But with all this excitement, I think we need to ask ourselves a question. Are we buying these new gadgets because we need them? Or are we just getting caught up in the hype?
Yeah, that's a good question to think about. Sometimes we get so focused on upgrading our hardware that we forget why we even enjoy gaming.
Right. Maybe instead of worrying about specs and benchmarks, we should just focus on having fun playing games, connecting with friends, exploring new worlds. Those are the things that really matter.
Well said. It's important to remember that technology is just a tool.
Exactly.
Hmm.
So while you're looking through all those Black Friday deals, ask yourself, will this actually make me happy? Or will it just become more cluttered? Maybe there's something else you could spend your time and money on. It's all about finding the right balance.
I agree.
Well, on that note, that's the end of our deep dive into Black Friday PC gaming deals. Remember that gaming is about more than just having the best gear. It's about passion and community and the joy of playing. Thanks for joining us. And happy gaming, everyone.